Hey, these brothers. Man, I want to present to you brothers, man, a question that I posed to the brothers in the Power Circle this morning, man. And anybody interested in the Power Circle, we will be having an open house on the 29th of this month. That's it's going to be a Sunday. Not sure on the time, but look for that email. Look for those emails coming out if you're in my email list, or look for me talking about it on YouTube, man. But anybody interested in the Power Circle, that open house, man, we'll be talking about what the Power Circle is, the benefits of it, and everything, all answering all questions associated with it, right? But the question that I posed to my brothers in the circle this morning, man, was what would you change, or what would change in your life if you stopped playing it safe? You know what I'm saying? Like, what would change in your life if you stopped playing it safe? And I broke it down into really 3 segments. And the first segment was what if you stopped caring about what the world thought? And the reason I put that, man, is because I don't believe a lot of people understand how much of a barrier it is when you live your life based on what everybody thinks. Meaning the best cities to live in, the best clothes to wear, the best cars to get. A lot of people base that on what everybody's going to think once they obtain it. So a lot of people don't understand what kind of prison the majority of people are in, just based on trying to impress everybody else. And I'm talking about impressing people you don't even know. I mean, you might get up and want to go to Walmart. You might want to get up and go to another city to do something. Everything you do is still based on everybody in your life still being impressed. Even the people you don't even know. Even people you cross paths with. Even people you find yourself at an intersection with in your vehicle that you'll never see again. They don't know your name. They don't know anything about you. But a lot of people live their lives trying to impress these people. What would your life do if you stopped trying to impress everybody, man? What if you stop trying to play it safe in that area? Think about the prison that would instantly be eliminated from you just by moving like that. You would be able to see the entire world as something you could obtain. There are a lot of things that you may like that you don't even know you like because you don't even give yourself permission to entertain it because your partners might think it's goofy. The people in your society might think it's cheesy. So you don't even entertain it. So think about what your life would be like if you just removed that prison, man. It would also give you an opportunity, brothers, to redefine success. And I talk about this quite often, but you have no idea how important it is to redefine success for whatever you want it to be. Because I'm gonna tell you this, bro. If you put together this gumbo of success, what you think it looks like, and you pursue it and you accomplish it, I promise you on everything I know, man, once you get to that threshold, once you cross that finish line, there will be no fulfillment. And I shared times in my life, man, where I thought I had won. I got the certain car that I thought made me cool. I thought I got the certain crib and all this kind of stuff. And I got there, bro, when it was empty. It was hell because it wasn't mine. What would happen, man, if you redefine success for yourself and went towards that, bro? You're talking about fulfillment, man. What would even happen if I'm gonna tell you this. You redefine success, you're automatically gonna start redefining your circle. You're gonna start redefining your friends. It's a lot of brothers you hang out with right now, man, that really you shouldn't be hanging out with. You really should be hanging out with, man. But a lot of y'all, maybe this is for younger guys, but you may not hang with certain guys because your partners think they cool or don't think they cool. Oh man, he into going to school, he into reading books, he's into these philosophers, he's into whatever, and you might say, hey, you know what? Well, since my partners don't think it's cool, I can't even mess with bro. When really that brother that ain't got no friends, he gotta roll by himself, he might have life figured out and can give you all the keys, bro. Think about that woman that you have in your life, man, that you have in your life strictly because she looks good on your shoulder as opposed to being a real asset. I'm gonna say that slow, man, because everybody needs to absorb this. A lot of us as men, a lot of times us as men, man, we'll get women that are physically attractive, but they aren't really assets to our lives. They aren't really assets to the way we move. So when we start choosing people to be in our lives, man, we have to start picking people that are assets in our life. We have to stop basing it off all the physical attributes we're always choosing and start choosing women based on us moving forward. The woman you bring in your life might be a whole different element, may be a whole different animal, man. She may look different. She may think different. She may bring things to the table, man, that can help you and your business move forward, you and your mission, you and your health. But what would happen if you released all those, brothers? The second thing is, what would happen, man, and I'm still talking about what would change in your life if you stop playing it safe. The second thing is, what would happen if you fully accepted your identity? And when I say that, I'm saying, what would happen if you fully accepted that you were made in the image of God? Not just like the last video I talked about, not just believed in it, but you knew it, which means it was part of your truth. It was part of your identity. Meaning the fact that you were made in the image of God, man, it changed the way you walked. It changed the way you interacted with people. You didn't walk in rooms no more with your shoulders down or looking down like you were less than. You look your boss or your managers in the eyes when you talk to them because you knew who you were. You know what I'm saying? What would change in your life, man, if you commanded respect simply by you knowing who you were, by understanding that you were made in the image? And I'm strictly talking about living a life with no fear. What would happen, brothers, if you had absolutely no fear? You know what I'm saying? Which means every decision you made, every decision you made was decided upon strictly based on the belief, the knowing that you could do anything you wanted to do. Think about everything. Think about this, brothers. Think about all the choices you've made over the last year, over the last 3 or 5 years. And think about how those decisions were based on having a cap. Were based on the city you lived in. Were based on your age. Were based on your race. Were based on your salary. Were based on your credit score. Think about how all your decisions have always been based on caps, and think about what your life would have been if you knew who you were, you knew your power, and you made decisions with no limits. Which leads me to my third one, man. What do you think your life would be like if you had the permission to build with no cap? If you gave yourself permission to build with no cap, because again, it's going to the same thing. A lot of times we'll build our own worlds, even if we know how to build worlds. Even if we're tapped into that level of spirituality and we know how to build, a lot of times we're still building with a cap. What would happen if you built your world with no restrictions? Like, why can't you wake up on an island? You know what I'm saying? Why can't you wake up in a villa in Morocco? Why can't you wake up in a high rise in Dubai? Why can't you own a cabana, a villa in Thailand, in Ghana? Like, why can't you? Because as soon as we start saying to ourselves, okay, you know what I'm saying? Like I done read all these books, I got all this motivational energy, I believe I know who I am. Let me build my kingdom. The first moment we say that, instantly all these things rush in and say, okay, you know what? Yeah, you can build whatever you want to build, but as long as it's in this box, as long as it agrees to everybody you know, as long as you don't really understand who you are, but you can build with these limitations, as long as you don't go outside of this realm, hey, you can have whatever you want to have. So my question to y'all brothers, man, the same question I asked my brothers in a circle, man. What would change in your life if you stopped playing it safe? And I'm telling you, man, it's important that you ask yourself this question, because I believe that every single person, when they find themselves, whether it be on a deathbed, whether they find themselves in a situation where they can no longer do the things they used to do when they were younger, when they find themselves with their mindset going, falling away, or they find themselves when their body is getting older, I believe every single person that gets in that state, I believe they ask themselves this question. You know what I'm saying? Because I could even at 48 years old, almost 49 years old in a couple of weeks, I can sit back and go back to my 30s and ask myself that question and say, you know what? If I could do it again, I would have went all out. I would have doubled down on who I am. If I could even go back to my 20s or my teens, I say, you know what? I would have done things different. So brothers, ask yourself that question, man. What would you have changed in your life, or what would change in your life if you stopped playing it safe?